Before Roots, I was a regular person. I was a regular college student. I was attending Oklahoma State University. Ironically, I majored in philosophy, playing soccer, and then kind of did something stupid. Had more than one interaction with police, and got kicked out of school. Started staying with my aunt and uncle, working a large amount of time, 60 to 80 hours a week, but I had a depression, mental breakdown, eventually led me to just feeling like I needed to get out. I wanted a vacation. So I came to Seattle to see some friends, and when I did that, all of my stuff got stolen. About all of my bags, $700 worth of, information. And it wasn't a big deal to leave the city. I just didn't have much going for me at the time. That was sort of my rock bottom. Most of the young adult shelters in King County stopped servicing young adults at 25. Basically, if you're 25 or older, you're going to have problems getting into shelters. That's sort of the age range when men's shelters, you're either too young for a men's shelter or you're too old for a youth shelter, and this was the only place that would accept me, my age range, and allowed me to use services, allowed me to, to better myself and do what I have to do to get by.
Before I started coming to Root, I stayed at a couple other shelters. I was also sort of couch surfing, sleeping on the streets, and engaging in survival sex to find places to stay at night. Eventually, while I went through a transitional housing program that wasn't a good suit for me, there was a really homophobic case manager there who eventually threw me out. And some friends referred me to Roots Young Adult Shelter because they were telling me about this shelter where there's just fabulous community. Almost everybody gets in every night, and it's a great community to be part of.
When I started here 7 years ago, we saw ourselves as this scrappy little basement program that nobody knew about, nobody cared about. It was us against the world, helping out 27 homeless kids a night, right? The Roots of 2015 is a much more diverse mix with 45 different young people. We have people who are short-term stayers, long-term stayers. We have the same commitment to them, but our sense of who we are to these young lives is a lot less embattled. We're no longer in this alone. A lot has happened. A lot of public investment and private investment has just basically shown Roots as an organization, wow, people care about these kids.
Roots stands for rising out of the shadows, but what Roots really is about is change, one moment at a time. And we do that through small things that make a huge difference. We provide those basic human necessities of life that allow our guests to feel like human beings instead of statistics or numbers. And we do it in a place where they're safe, where they can be supported, and where we're not asking anything back from them. We're just providing a place where they can be.
This is the largest young adult shelter in Washington State, and so that means we serve up to 45 18 to 25-year-olds every night here in shelter, and we provide them with a safe place to sleep, and we also provide them with a number of essential services. So each night we serve dinner, we have a clothing hall with shoes and clothes, underwear. We have a library where folks can take books. We have showers available, we have laundry available, we have computers with internet, phone, and we have support coordinators here 4 nights a week to assist with case management services. And then we have games and movies and TV.
Roots is a really good place for people under 26 to be able to normalize ourselves, to have people who actually sympathize and empathize with the situation instead of vilify you for it. To have people, to have a place to sleep at night, to have a place indoors.
I feel as homeless youth, we often get not rejected, but people are afraid to acknowledge us because that also means acknowledging a very uncomfortable condition that's happening in society, which people very naturally don't want to think about.
One of the things that Seattle doesn't have are a lot of really great shelters for the guests that we serve. Although there are a lot of homeless shelters in Seattle, that age group's not represented. And the adult shelters that are there aren't safe. Roots provides a safe place where they can figure out where they're going before they get to that next stage.
Roots does so much and has such a significant impact, and there's still so much more that we can do. We are limited in our resources and our funding and our staffing. I think supporting Roots is vital in the sense that we are providing stability to so many people in need, and that's huge.
We know people will step up, that we can continue to be responsive, having the confidence in our donor base, having the confidence that the story that we're telling about the lives that we're impacting has value and pulls on heartstrings and gets people to invest, gets people to volunteer. And that's a pretty big change from years ago where we just thought, oh, nobody cares about us, we're in this alone, right? It's really exciting to see that we have this whole wonderful community.
The truth is that this is underfunded volunteer employees who work way more than they're allotted, and we take way more than we actually have. So there has to be a give and a take somewhere, and it comes from, generous people. 80% of Americans don't like their jobs. 20%, the other 20% is probably in here.